What would you say, like if you give some key points of when you think of the business would be investor ready? Because you both spoke about it and a bit disparity about when a company thinks they're ready to go to market for investors and when the investor says, okay, yeah, I'm going to put money in.
It really depends a lot on the sort of finance they're looking for.
Yeah.
I would say, heads up first, that the investors themselves need a lot of support to become investor ready. They often don't really fully understand what they're looking for, what kind of impact is there should be understanding is going to be delivered, how it's going to be measured. So there's quite a lot of education on their part as well. If you are looking for what one might consider a sort of asset-backed sort of finance, that is relatively easy to secure in the UK at the moment. Others will talk about it internationally. If you are looking for what would be considered the high-risk capital, the seed capital, whether it be for organisations in the UK or elsewhere, this is where you get into a very difficult set of analyses of what are the risk, return, and impact profiles. But the key things on research we have covered are, it's a lot about the management team, the story you tell, and the risk you can mitigate.
So basically inspiring confidence in people that you see invest in me, not necessarily a business because you haven't started it yet.
Well, in the end, I guess that's down to us as human beings. We're very influenced by who it is who's pitching and what it is they're convincing us of. And investors, particularly angels, they are individuals who go with the tune or not. But it's then sort of incumbent on the enterprise that then does manage to secure this investment to live up to that and to meet the metrics that it's imposing on itself and show that the outcomes and the social returns that are being delivered really are promised, are actually delivered. And this is where it comes back to Julie's point about metrics. And that's probably the single hardest thing for an investor to really get their mind around, is that returns come in two forms. And that's a very new way of thinking, and it's extremely difficult for social enterprises to go in and pitch on two outcomes, effectively two models. But I think there's good experience, good practice going, people who've done it and managing to pass the messages on and understand what's required. So I think it's work in progress. And the other thing is there are a number of organisations who I think feel this is never appropriate. They don't feel they should ever do anything other than go for contracts and grants, and this is just a route to commercialisation. Back to your point about how many years in the market do we get. Of course, that's not going to operate. We're never going to get the scale there, and we have to decide as a society what do we do about that. Are we prepared to let it possibly fall out because there won't be endless grants or contracts that they can secure? And that's a really big question, I think, for society. What do we think we really want to protect at all costs, even if the market can't support it? Because broadly, social enterprises are operating in fields where either the market is completely unproven or it's possibly failed altogether. So there will be fallout.
We have time for our last questions.
I've got a question for Katie, and that is, within that City of London setup and this reputation issue of the banks that you're talking about, is there a sort of priority set of issues that you're looking to tackle, or is it just sort of open?
More broadly, yes, the city, there are an enormous number of people in the City of London Corporation and in the City of London altogether who are looking at how to reinstigate an enormous number of ethical values into the whole process of using capital for good. My remit is much easier, much more bespoke. I've got a product which is we want to try to take impact investment and social investment to the market. And for that, you need to consider what social outcomes you want to be part of, which is an easier sell. More broadly, what I think we need to be seeing is the real clarity about fiduciary duties. Pension funds don't really have clarity about whether they can invest in this sort of thing and still maintain long-term benefit. We can argue, and Fair Pensions, if you haven't come across them, are doing a phenomenally good case at putting forward the arguments to say it's completely within a fiduciary duty to accept this for the longer term. But those are some of the cases. The same with foundations and trusts, who have a lot of problems at trustee level to understand really whether this is in any way going to compromise the endowment. So some of those issues are for specific types of investors, need specific types of kind of reconfiguring, and we can help with that. But broadly, the picture is about how do we get shareholder value to reflect the social benefit as well as the financial benefit of the firm.
items.
Great. Thank you very much. I'd like to just thank all the panelists for sharing with us. If you are happy to continue the conversation, we'll move upstairs to the bar. Hopefully you'll meet some people that you can connect with and learn from. If you are a social entrepreneur looking for business support, come talk to any of us. Impact Lab is about providing startups business support by connecting them with professionals that are interested in skills-based volunteering. And on that note,
Thank you.
thanks
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you so much.